Now, this is a good question. Now, although most of the time I don't like quoting sources, mainly for the reason that one source can say one thing and another source can say something completely opposite of the other source. Therefore, people will have a tendency to lean towards whatever their preconceived notions are. Now, I don't know how old this gentleman is, but I'm 49 years old. I began my journey away from Christianity and all other religions when I was 9 years old. So I'm looking at 30 plus years of study. And most of that study was done in libraries, was done reading PhD dissertations. It was done visiting Israel and Egypt and the Vatican. It was done going to historical sites and then sitting and studying and learning from linguists. Now, according to most modern day scholars, they're going to say that both the book of Genesis and the book of Leviticus was written between 1445 and 1405. You're not going to find many historians who are going to tell you which was written first. Now, most will agree that the book of Leviticus, from that 1445 all the way to around 332 BCE, it wasn't completed until then. But now, its incompletion does not necessarily mean that Levitical laws of diet were not already written in the 1400 BCE time frame. Here's the rub. When you talk to a linguist, a biblical linguist who is just being honest, will look at Leviticus and look at Genesis and will hypothesize, theorize that Leviticus, the dietary laws, were probably written before Genesis and the story of Noah. Why? Because if they were chronological, then Noah would not have known what clean and unclean animals were when God told him to take 7 pairs of clean animals on the boat. To further show that these books were redacted, a few chapters after he was told to take the unclean and clean animals on the boat, Noah was then told by God that I give you every beast of the field and every insect and thing that crawl upon the ground for food, just as I have given you every green thing for food. Now, that would suggest to a linguist that the writers of Genesis, when they were first writing the Noah story and about the animals coming to Noah, they knew of unclean animals from Leviticus. But that would tell you that the ones who were redacting Genesis and when Noah was getting off the boat did not know of unclean and clean animals, as they were told to eat all the animals that came off the boat were for you good for food. So the conclusion would be that you have to use critical thinking to recognize that these books weren't inspired by God, because otherwise there wouldn't be any confusion. But yet there is some confusion when